The Houthis' bold message to Israel, a dangerous new front. Something dramatic is happening in the Middle East, and this time, it involves an unlikely player stepping directly into the Israel-Palestine conflict. On August 3rd, the Houthi rebels of Yemen made a bold announcement. They declared that they had launched 3 special military operations against Israel. Not 1, not 2, but 3 coordinated drone attacks. At first, it sounds almost unbelievable. Yemen is over 2,000 kilometers away from Israel. How could a militia group, bogged down for years in a civil war at home, reach so far into Israeli territory? The answer lies in modern warfare: long-range drones. According to the Houthis, their drones flew out across the Arabian Peninsula and struck Jaffa, Ashkelon, and the port of Haifa, 3 strategic Israeli cities. Jaffa and Ashkelon lie just south of Tel Aviv, a region packed with military and civilian infrastructure. Haifa, in the north, is one of Israel's busiest ports and a hub of economic activity. By choosing these 3 very different targets, the Houthis were making a point. They can strike across Israel's map, not just in one corner. It was not a random move. It was a carefully staged warning shot. Why now? The trigger behind the attacks. That's the key question. Why would a Yemeni militia decide to hit Israel at this particular moment? The Houthis themselves answered. They claimed their strikes were direct retaliation for Israeli actions at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem, one of the holiest sites in Islam. In recent weeks, a far-right Israeli politician visited the compound, sparking outrage across the Arab and Muslim world. To many, it felt like a provocation, a violation of sacred ground. For the Houthis, this was the last straw. So, these drone attacks were framed not just as military operations, but as religious defense. In their view, they were protecting a holy site, sending a loud and clear message that Al-Aqsa is not to be disrespected. Who are the Houthis? To understand the weight of this attack, you need to know who the Houthis are. The Houthis are a Shia rebel movement based in northern Yemen. For years, they have been locked in a brutal war with a Saudi-led coalition. They now control a large swath of Yemen, including the capital Sana'a, and operate like a state within a state. Crucially, they are strongly backed by Iran. Tehran supplies them with money, weapons, and military training. This support has allowed the Houthis to build an advanced drone and missile program, one powerful enough to strike not only Saudi Arabia and the UAE, but now, apparently, Israel. Escalation beyond borders. The Houthis have long used drones and missiles to attack Saudi oil facilities, airports, and shipping lanes in the Red Sea. But this is the first time they have directly targeted Israel. And that changes the game. It shows that the Israel-Palestine conflict is no longer confined to its borders. It is pulling in armed groups from far beyond Gaza or the West Bank. Iran's network of allies, often called the Axis of Resistance, includes Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq and Syria, and now the Houthis in Yemen. This means Israel could face threats not just from its immediate neighbors, but from multiple directions across the Middle East. A region on fire. The broader regional backdrop makes this even more dangerous. The war in Gaza has already sent shockwaves across the Muslim world. Streets are filled with protests. Boycotts of Israeli goods are spreading. Arab governments are under pressure from their people to take a harder line against Israel. Now, with the Houthis' attacks, the anger has jumped from civilian protests to military action. For Israel, this is alarming. Its military is already stretched thin. In the north, it faces Hezbollah's rockets from Lebanon. In the south, it confronts Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza. In the West Bank, tensions are running high with Palestinian groups. And now, from the southeast, drones are potentially flying in from Yemen. This raises the prospect of a multi-front war, Israel's worst strategic nightmare. The U.S. caught in the middle. All of this puts Washington in an extremely difficult position. The United States is Israel's strongest ally. It has pledged to defend Israel against external threats. But the US also wants to prevent a wider regional war, one that could spiral out of control. And then there's Yemen itself. The country is already in the middle of one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with millions on the brink of famine. For years, the US has been trying to de-escalate the Yemeni war. But now that same war is spilling into the Israel-Palestine conflict, dragging Washington into a new dilemma. What does this mean? So, what are the Houthis really doing here? Are they showing off their growing military power? Or are they signaling the start of a new, bigger regional conflict? Some analysts see this as a message to Israel and to the United States. The Houthis want the world to know that the axis of resistance is united and capable of hitting Israel from multiple directions. Others believe it's more symbolic, a way for the Houthis to rally support at home and across the Arab world by presenting themselves as defenders of Jerusalem. Either way, the implications are serious. The bigger picture. What started as a political dispute over a holy site is now escalating into something far more dangerous. You have drones flying hundreds of miles, missiles on standby, protests in capitals across the Middle East, and an entire region on edge. The ingredients are there for a conflict that could expand beyond anyone's control. And that is the real danger: religious outrage, political rivalries, and military technology colliding all at once. The Houthi strikes may have been described as a warning shot. But in a region as tense as the Middle East, even a warning can light a fire.